Hi everyone, I'm back again with a book review of John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. This is a short story, or this is a small novel. It's only 107 pages. This is the Penguin Books edition, and it's really short. I read it in like 2 days, only because I was being slow. So let me get into what it's about. I'll give you a quick synopsis. Basically, it's about two migrant workers. One of them is mentally disabled. He's a grown man, but he has the thinking ability or the mental capability of a child. And the other one, his name is George. He is his friend, and he basically takes care of him, and he's like his protector. So these guys, they go around working on different ranches and farms and make their living. So that's where the story begins. It starts out because they got in trouble at another um, farm. It starts out with them arriving to work at this new farm, and that's where the story begins. And then from there, John Steinbeck writes about certain events that take place, and basically that's what the story is about. It's so short; it doesn't have much of a plot or synopsis. So I'll get right into it. It was written in 1937. It won the Pulitzer Prize for that year in literature. So apparently a lot of people liked it. I thought it was okay. It wasn't um, earth-shattering. I wasn't blown away by it, but it was okay. So let me give you the pros of, or my pros for this book. First of all, look at my notes here. There weren't very many scenes. I would say maybe there's about 4 or 5 distinct, not even that many, maybe 4 distinct scenes that he writes about. But each one is written very well. Like you really get a sense of what is going on in that scene of the book. And I like his style of writing. It's good. It's not terrible. He writes in a dialect, I guess, of that time, of that era, and of that um, area, and that was pretty good. And he puts in a lot of dialogue, so you get a lot of dialogue between the characters, which sets up the scenes really well. Now, that was my pros for the book, and like I said, it's so short that it's not much to pick to talk about out of this book. But I don't have very many cons for this book, but they're more like I want to say like a heads up for things to expect in this book. For me, it was they use the N word quite often. So at first I was like a little taken aback, but you have to remember it was written in 1930. The setting was in 1937, and obviously that's how they talked back then. So it's a little bit off-putting if you get offended easily. They use it quite often. Just keep that in mind that they use the N-word, but this is literature, and it's written in 1937 in that time period. So you have to expect certain things like that. And another thing which you can look out for is there's a scene that has to deal with animals. So if you're an animal lover like I am, you may be slightly disturbed or not. It all depends. But that's just something to look out for. But overall, I thought this book was okay. At first, when I finished reading it, I didn't feel like I got anything from it. I was just like, okay. The ending, of course, was surprising, which I think that stands out most in people's minds because the ending was a little bit surprising. And I hope that doesn't spoil it for anybody. But after I thought about it a little bit, and I went on Spark Notes to see, just to wrap it up, sum it up, see um, what everybody else wrote about it. And one of the themes that is said the book was about was the impossibility of the American dream. And I agree with that because there are a lot of times that these two farmers, they kept talking about how they were going to get this piece of land and live off the fat of the land. And basically throughout the book, everybody kept saying, yeah, everybody has that dream, and it's pretty much futile. But overall, the book was very well written, and it's so short, I would recommend anybody to read it. Really good book.